Hello, LinkedIn. Me again. Happy Friday, the 12th. Or is it 13th? Losing track of what day it is. But yeah, welcome to the show. Welcome to anybody that's watching this live. As per normal, anybody that's in my business, because obviously you're getting paid to watch this, let us know and give us a wee message and just say that you can hear us okay and you can see us okay. Hopefully Amelia will be coming in just there in a minute with a wee thumbs up to say that it all sounds and looks good. So one of the things we're going to kind of change it. We'll start. I'll do the sponsors and everything else in a minute and introduce you to Dario. Thumbs up, thanks Amelia. We'll do that in a minute. But one of the things we're going to do today is we're going to kind of change it up a wee bit. So anybody that's in my business, right? We're going to be talking about things that we're hopefully going to implement across our business. Drop some questions in. So we're going to have a wee stop every 10 minutes and see if there's any questions there. Because what we've been doing and we've realised is that we just end up talking. Dario, obviously you've seen a couple of shows now. You just end up in full flow. And then there's people that are sending questions in and we're not getting a chance to actually to address them. So what we'll do is we'll have a wee kind of stop every 10 minutes, just see if there's any questions, if that's all right with you. And then we can see if there's anybody that's wanting to engage. So anybody from my business, feel free to engage if you think what Dario and I are talking about is interesting. And then we'll see how that goes. Right, so we're going to get started because Dario and I have been sitting here for ages. We've been sitting blathering. It's been really, really good because this is the first time we've actually properly met. So we've been doing that and eating our cake. So we'll show our cakes and everything, and then we'll go on. So, big thanks to Bull Mango Media. Andrew, give us a pat in the back. Amelia, give us a wee pat in the back out there for making all this happen. And also, our lovely sponsors Grow. So, today I've got a berry blast thingamajiggy because I'm already coffeeed out my head. So, I decided to have an organic berry blast smoothie. And I've got one of the mountain cookie cake things again, which I really love. What you got, Dario?
I've got a normal coffee, white coffee, because I've not had enough coffee yet today, and I've got the exact same cake as you, but I've not eaten the chocolate.
Put it up. Yet. So Dario's not eating the chocolate, but he has had a bite out the side, so don't let him kid you on. He's had a bite out the side.
I could resist.
So I'm going to introduce everybody to Dario, right? So Dario was introduced to me from Andrew. And when I seen what Dario did, I was like, that we need to get this guy on the show because, as you know, this show's all about things that we think could benefit other businesses. And when I seen what you did, and obviously the number of times that I've been on Teams calls or Zoom calls, and the either audio or the visual is absolute rubbish. And you've actually just found out today that the reason that I end up tired and falling asleep on them is not because the people are boring, but it's because my mind's stressing because of the potential that you're having to focus in the visual or try to listen in clearly to the hearing. So Dario's business actually addresses all that, right? So Dario, tell us a wee bit. So obviously it's DWAV.
Yeah, DWAV is Digital Workspace Audiovisual Solutions.
Nice.
It's exactly what it says on the tin. We do audiovisual solutions for the digital workspace.
Yeah, and the world is now. I mean, if I'll think about even just before COVID, Teams calls and video communication wasn't really that big a thing. I'd been doing it for years because I've been working with global companies. But when you weren't part of that kind of a global network, it was still all done a lot face to face. That whole world has changed. So have you seen a big kind of upturn and people starting to look for your services more because they're saying we need to actually be a bit better at how we communicate both audibly and visibly remotely now?
Yeah, and then you're spot on. COVID had a huge effect on video conferencing and video communications for meetings. It literally took a wrecking ball through the idea that we don't need to do video conferencing with companies. Before that, it was the expense of the hardware and the reliability of networks. Before that, I mean, going back, it was ISDN telephone lines all grouped together to give you the bandwidth that you needed. But the IP that's available in the internet nowadays, the bandwidth that's there, that's answered that question. And then when COVID happened, Zoom came out the traps. I mean, they were so fast out of the traps, and they were everywhere. Zoom exploded. I mean, somebody could look up the numbers, but Zoom went from a particular size company to so many 100 times bigger company almost overnight. And Microsoft were kind of left lagging behind. You know, they were caught short with that one there. It's so much so that Microsoft are putting adverts out showing their video conferencing call quality is really, really poor and pixelated, while Zoom was fresh and crispy. So Microsoft obviously got themselves organised and said, right, we need to sort this because we're Microsoft. We dominate the market.
Yep.
And they did a really good job of it because they went around every single large corporate client and said, you already use us for Office 365 and so on and so on. There's Teams, you've got Teams, we're now going to give you Teams video calling as part of your package.
Yeah.
And they did that, and everybody migrated to, in the business world that is, migrated towards Microsoft, and they've won that battle again. Zoom's still there, and Zoom's still doing a job, and it's a fantastic product. But if you're working in an environment where you've already got Microsoft as your platform, it's too easy. I mean, even we, at the time, we were a dealer for another company that was based in the UK. They had a fantastic platform, and they basically died because of the battle between Zoom and Microsoft. And we even started using Microsoft Teams for video calling because it's handy. 1 minute you're in a chat conversation, sharing documents, next minute you're turning it into a call. And it just works that way there. So Microsoft have definitely improved it. And then since COVID, the expectation from the client and from the user now is increased.
Yeah.
And people are now expecting good quality on a video call.
And so many initial relationships are now built via video call. I mean, I've travelled the world and done things done what I do for a long, long time. And most of your first interactions with people were either on the telephone or a face-to-face. Now, maybe 50% of your first interaction with people were via a Teams call. So you want to be able to see them, you want to be able to hear them, you want to be able to have a good experience of that first interaction and meeting. And to be able to do that, you need to have, obviously, yes, good connection, but you need to have good tools and things behind you as well. So I just see, and I don't see that changing.
No, you're absolutely right. And the necessity of it, trying my case still here, the necessity of it is driving that as well. So before, people would want to meet face-to-face or just in a telephone call because that's all they had.
That's just the way it was.
But then when you realise you've got this tool that allows you to see somebody's face and meet them properly, even though you're not in the same room, you then go and expect that. So that's your go-to when you do that there. And you can't underestimate the importance of body language and reading somebody's face when you're having a conversation with them. As humans, when we interact with each other, we're constantly making eye contact and we're constantly shifting our gaze around the other person's face and their body language. That's important if you're going to have effective communication.
But that's difficult if you're sitting there and you're all pixelated and when you're talking to them and I actually had a Teams call like that yesterday. My van, I need to actually get my Wi-Fi in the house fixed. Bloody paid for the most expensive Wi-Fi and it's still crap. But anyway, they're sitting there and you're trying to have a conversation and then the next thing they're freezing. And you're like, did you hear me there?
Yeah. I mean, it is frustrating. We had a quick chat before we started here, and I was talking about when you're on a video call with somebody or an audio call with somebody, it's so important that the audio quality and the video quality is sufficient to allow you to have a comfortable experience. And what I mean by that is that if you're straining to hear somebody over a length of time, it gets tiring, and then you eventually lose concentration. If you're straining to see people, you switch off and you start to gaze elsewhere, and therefore you're not focused. So if you want effective communication with either conversations or information, the quality of the content on the screen and coming out the speakers and through the microphones and through the cameras is key to that there. So that everybody involved in the call effectively feels as if they're in the same room with each other, like we are right now. We could easily do this conversation here over a video link. Easily do it, right? Over a poor video link, it wouldn't be as nice as this. And we wouldn't have the same experience. Over a really good video link, we could probably have the same experience. And that's the benefit. You don't need to be 2 meters apart. You can be the opposite sides of the world and have this similar experience. But
you need to have the right system in place for that, because even for me, just doing Teams on your laptop to laptop, it's all right. But I've been in places that have got a good system in, And the difference is massive. And I think, obviously we've been talking about what we're going to be doing with my remote monitor centre and the conferencing facilities that we're looking at. We can talk about that in a minute. But where I got to with that and why I had that vision in my head was because I've sat in large global companies and you're sitting in there and you're in a room and you wouldn't know that you're speaking to somebody at the other side of the world, right? Just exactly what you're saying there, where you're sitting in a room and the room's big, right? It's massive, and you're up the back and you're like, oh, can you hear me? Like, yeah, I can hear you fine, no problem. Oh, can you see me? I can see you fine, no problem. So you've got the microphones that are catching your voice. You've got the camera that's zooming in and to you when you're speaking and all that. It's outstanding, and you're going, that's the experience that you want.
Yeah.
No, you're at the back and you're having to shout your loudest so as the person can hear you because you're using a microphone and a laptop that's sitting there, but you've got it up on the screen. That's what we've been doing just now, to be honest, and it's painful. So that's why we've been looking at systems for ourselves, and then when seeing what you're doing, you're like, wow, this is exactly what we want.
You're absolutely right. You know, when you're in a video conferencing situation, the modern technology that's coming from Microsoft and the manufacturers, who incidentally since COVID have made a big effort to work together, that their firmware is aligned with each other.
Right.
So any features and benefits that are in the bit of hardware are aligned with what Microsoft are developing within the Teams client. So just simple things like if you're rustling a crisp poke.
Aye.
On a Teams call, the audio systems, the algorithms in the audio system, the AI that's built into it will ignore that sound. It knows that that's not a human voice, so it ignores it and filters it out. Somebody could be sitting beside you in a computer keyboard tapping away, and it completely ignors that there.
I see that. That's one of the most annoying things in the world. When you're on a Teams call and you can hear somebody typing.
Yeah, well, I've got a colleague that works from home, and if I speak to the mobile phone, I can hear a dog barking. When I speak to her on a Teams call, all I hear is telling the dog to be quiet.
Aye.
I don't hear a dog.
You see, I've got 5 dogs, right? And I'm on a Teams call in the gone bush round about me, and I'm like, I'm really sorry, like, we can't hear them.
Nobody can hear it. It's brilliant.
And
that's the power of the AI. Another thing that AI has done in recent years as well in the systems is facial recognition.
Right.
So you mentioned how the camera goes to the person that's speaking. Well, it's not just about hearing the noise and then going to that face. The algorithms and the AI inside the system, I won't get into technology too much because I don't really know it too much, but the generalization of it in layman's terms is that the microphones are listening to the full room.
Yeah.
The cameras are watching the full room, and then the AI knows a human face and what a human face looks like when it's talking. The microphones know roughly where that audio is coming from. The two bits lock together, and within a split second, the camera's on you as the person that's speaking. And then what they can also do is they can dice up around about a table and chop everybody into a block and then group you back together and get rid of all the empty space, so as that you've got a screen like they do in the news channels when you've got the two news readers side by side, but they're actually around the table from each other. So that requires camera operators and vision mixers, etc. The AI and the modern kit that we provide to our clients does all that automatically for you.
I love technology, honestly. See, like all this, see having a technology talk and you're going, that's amazing. It's amazing to see how things have evolved. What was it used to be, that the original kind of Skype?
Yeah, well, that's Microsoft Teams in its early days.
So I can remember, because I used to deal with Skype all the time. It was great at the time, actually.
I'm wrong, actually, because Microsoft bought Skype and had it as a product, and then they did Skype for Business, and then they did Teams, and there was actually a bun fight.
The two of them got there together.
There was a bun fight within Microsoft where Teams was developing their stuff and they were developing their stuff, and they had a bit of a bun fight. And of course, Teams has won that.
But it's amazing to see how much this has all come on since then. It's outstanding. But see from your business side, so what? Because this is all really, really amazing. So what is it you do? Because you are more of an integrator, aren't you? You're the solution provider. So if someone's... we were talking about our mission control and our remote monitoring centre when we were there, and some of the ideas that you started throwing at me were outstanding. So is that where you come in, where somebody says, this is what I would like to try and get as an output? How do you make it work?
Aye, I mean, I know it sounds corny, but it's really important to listen to your client. But first of all, you've got to ask a lot of questions to find out what your client's trying to achieve. Because a lot of time, and with the greatest respect, somebody can say, right, this is what I want to do, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. And they might have an idea in their head because they've maybe seen it somewhere else or just come up with an idea in their head. And what you've got to do is you've got to carefully listen to what they're saying, and then find out what they actually want to achieve for their business. What's important to you.
Yep.
And then once you do that, there you can build a scope.
Yep.
But the point is that if somebody needs to communicate visually, vocally, and with information, you've got to find a way to make that effective for them. Giving them the best way of doing that there to make it properly effective, but efficient as well.
Yeah.
And one of the drivers for us in the big control room type environments that we would do. I mean, we do a lot of small stuff like a reception screen or just a standard meeting room system. But the big control rooms that we do, that was driven through the oil and gas industry, looking at safety. They wanted to get all non-essential staff off the rigs and the platforms out of the blast zones. And they couldn't do it effectively before when the communication channels weren't great. But then when the technology started to catch up in the early 2000s, it became possible. And we got invited in with one client to build advanced collaboration environments onshore. And the idea there is that the operators onshore would effectively still be offshore with their colleagues who are still offshore. And they could literally lift their head and turn and speak to somebody on a display as if they're in the same room with them.
Aye.
And they wouldn't feel as if they were having to shout at them or press a button to buzz them. They would just talk in their normal voice and bring that person in. And we achieved that. And we've got better and better at it. And now with the new, the comms and bandwidths that are available to us, I keep bumping that microphone, sorry.
So you like me, I do a lot of talking with my hands.
That's probably the Italian part. So we can now deliver those solutions to clients and allow them to stream all the data and all the information they want, everywhere they want it to be, live. It's live content as you need it. And they can switch between it, so they can see people and they can see the content, or both whenever they want. And if we make it easy for them to do it, they don't have to then stress about how am I going to share this information, how am I going to see that, how am I going to talk to that person. They just do it the way they would do it if they're in the same room.
And I think the big kind of advantage that we see in it is obviously our remote monitoring centre, we're basically looking at people's data remotely, right? So we want to put all that up on our screen so as our analysts that are sitting there can look at it. So they'll look at it on their computers, but they're like, right, but I want to share this. So there may be one of them are sitting on their computer, and what they've got at this present time is they'll just share it on Teams or whatever. When they're all now in their room together, they can just go, right, let's put that up on the screen, because we're probably looking at maybe 3, 4, 5 different data sets that we're trying to overlap each other and stuff like this. So having that capability to be moving things around. And I was saying to the guys, right, kidding on with them, I'm going to get you a minority report type thing, right? And you can actually do some the similar things, right? So I'm like, holy shit, they're going to love me. But they're looking at all these different things. And then you can go, right, okay, that's us. We're happy with all this. This is what we're going to do. Bring the client in. Right, so bring the client in, and at the moment what you're doing is going between this and between that and between the next thing. What you're talking about is you can simplify all that, so we can go, right, here's all the data we've got, right, you're up, the client's up in that screen, but I'm going to share this with you, click, move, click, and it'll make it what we can deliver so much more effective from our point of view, and I think that for anybody that's trying to look at live data streams and find different ways of displaying that easier for everybody, it sounds like a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. And you called it mission control. In a mission control environment, you have different scenarios that you have to go through as you go through the process. Whatever you're up to at that particular time, you've got different requirements, things you need to see, people you need to see, conversations you need to have. So if you know what they are going to be, and you've blocked out that process, we can even give you fast click buttons to launch those scenarios. So you don't need to go and find information and pull it up. You just click for that scenario, click, the next scenario comes up, and it'll change all the content for you and bring to the fore what you need to focus on.
I don't know if any of our remote monitoring team's watching. So like Harry, Josh, Greg, Matty, Lucas, if they're watching this, and if they've got any questions on that, because they're the guys that are going to operate it. But for me, it just sounds amazing. Right, but once you actually spend time with those guys and they tell you what they would like to get out of it, we can't wait to see what this turns into for
and,
us.
and another thing that we spoke about earlier on, which is you and I are looking at each other face to face right now in this conversation, but there's cameras here, so the people that are watching on the link are getting the side of our faces. Well, the systems that we're providing nowadays, because of the AI that's built into them, the AI can tell what direction you're looking at and engage a different camera. So if there was a camera over our heads, as well as these cameras here, and we're looking at each other, the camera over our head, the system would switch to that camera's feed and send that to the far end. So we're still effectively looking and making eye contact with the people at the far end.
And it's obviously that there's algorithms built into that.
It's all done with AI. It's facial recognition technology that sort of stemmed from the security side of facial recognition when it first came on. And other technologies have taken advantage of that and built it into their system. So video conferencing now, especially Teams, has got that built into it, and it makes really, really good use of it.
So that's got it built into, but you need to obviously have the right technology available, cameras and webcams and whatever else you're using, because that obviously most people, I would imagine right now, they're just doing a Teams call for their laptop.
Or a webcam sat on top of a TV at the end of the table or on the wall near the table. And that's fine. If that works for you, that's fine. But I can promise you, anybody that's looking right now, I can promise you, if you come and have a look at what's possible compared to what you're doing right now, you'll be blown away by it, and you'll see the benefit to your own business from it. Because everybody we've done that with so far has literally said, you're not getting it back, leave it here, we'll give you a purchase order for it.
And you're very, so that's where we had that discussion about how we're very similar, because that's the same in our business. What we've got is people have been doing things where they've been doing it for 20 years. They only know what they know.
Yeah, you get by with what you've got.
Yeah, and then it's not until you see something that is better, right? What you're talking about is better than what I use just now. So I don't think there's any, and people sometimes go, I don't really want to say that what we've got is better, but it is. Right? It's the same as what we've got. So we've got technologies available to us that are better than what people do right now. But they don't know that it's better until they try it.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. We'll go and we'll do proof of values on people's sites and say, there you go, there is a cutting edge, fantastic bit of technology that we are confident will help give you better information than you've currently got. You put it on, see when it's then sitting on their own thing, they go, holy shit, that's great. Right? That's brilliant. You don't know what you don't know.
It's still possible to post a letter to somebody.
Aye.
It's so much better to send an email, right?
It's not possible to post a letter to my house, right? That's what I'm saying. Have you not noticed that you get your post and it was dated a week and a half ago? Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. A digital message or an email is instant.
Yep.
No, that's got drawbacks as well, because it piles pressure on you to answer everything straight away. But you manage that. But the idea with the digital platforms is that you're getting high quality all the time when you need it. It lowers your costs, brings people together, and as I said earlier on, it stops people from getting stress in their head or lag in their head and losing interest and losing focus. And that's a key thing a lot of folk don't appreciate. But good quality comms gives you good quality focus.
Well, here's a question I'm going to ask out to everybody then that's watching this, and I'll tell you I've done it. So who's been sitting on a Teams call that you're sitting there, and the next thing you're half asleep, you're sitting there half sleeping, and I've had Teams calls where I've been on and times where my camera's been off and I'm sitting there and I'm almost away. So is there anybody else out there? So comment if you've ever nearly fell asleep in a Teams call. Is there any comments on the thing, Andrew? Is there anybody asking anything? I've got some stuff coming through my phone.
Audrey's, that's like you, Jamie, and
Kelsey can hear. What's like me, Audrey? Right, so so I've just been, sorry, the remote support guys are with a customer just now. They're on a call with a customer. Right. So I wonder how their video call's going, because that's what that'll be happening now. So we'll see how their video call's going. Then when they watch us back, they'll be like, I wish I had my new system in. But some of the stuff that you've done on a bigger scale is amazing. But obviously a lot of this is watched and it's to try and help the SMEs out there. So the companies run a bit my size, maybe a wee bit bigger, and how they can try and implement things that listen to their system. So there might be some of these guys going, holy shit, that sounds extortionate, and that sounds like I don't really need a full operational control centre. But I'm almost certain that they could be doing with something to try and help them make their audio visual better. So how does it work with regards to difference between a small business and a system up to a big business and a
No,
system?
it's a great point, and you know we've got more small clients than we've got larger clients, and you know it's a nice healthy mix, and it's important. It's as important for a small client as it is for a larger client. Yesterday, I was with a startup company in Aberdeen,
Right.
and you know, being a startup, they're like, you know, every penny is important to us. Can you help us do this? We'd really love to do that there, but we don't think we're going to budget. Well, we found a smaller system and said, do it in a smaller table, in a smaller room. Make sure the 2 or 3 you're there that's in at the startup as you are just now.
Mm-hmm.
Your discipline is to sit in that smaller table. Don't install a bigger table in that room.
Mm-hmm.
And this system will be perfect for you. It'll do the job. And I popped in to see them yesterday to see how they're going on. And they're absolutely loving it. And they've been winning contracts based on conversations and meetings that have been had on it.
Brilliant.
And they're now thinking about moving into the unit next door and expanding and adding 2 or 3 more staff. So they're going to come back to us and say, we need a bigger system for a bigger room.
Mm-hmm.
So by allowing them to get started and see the benefit of it, we're going to benefit from that as well.
Yeah. No.
Instead of trying to, you know, force them to take something that they don't need or push their budgets too hard. So we work with them to make sure we can help them, and then they've won contracts in the back of it. So the revenue's there to spend with us. So everybody benefits.
Yeah, exactly what we said about what we're doing at the moment. I mean, we have not got a massive budget for this. This is a business unit that's going out there to become kind of standalone. Matthew, obviously, he's going to be holding the purse strings for that budget. So we've went there and we've invested this money in Mission Control 1.0. The desks that are in, the TVs are there. And then what obviously will get you into to help with this next part of it. But as we grow, that's a big part of our business. And Mission Control 2.0 is probably going to look a hell of a lot different now that we know each other. Because it went from something that was going to be kind of what I thought was going to be cutting edge, but it's going to be mega cutting edge now, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, and you know, like I was saying before, you can go small scale, you can go large scale. I'm not going to name any names here, but we did a job on an oil platform which we commissioned a couple of years ago along with our partner company, and the onshore control room is a huge big room where like a 8-9 meter long video wall and a big control desk with lots of buttons and stuff, and they're streaming live content from an oil platform that's out in the Caspian Sea. Brilliant. Straight into that room there. So everybody in that room is able to monitor what's going on in the Caspian Sea and talk to their colleagues in a smaller version of the exact same thing in the control room out in the Caspian Sea.
Yep.
And the thing that made that possible for them was able to get the fibre optic link under the water between the two locations. It was possible before, but the comms between the two sites before made it quite a challenge.
Right.
The fact that the client and the IT networks can link them together means that we can then bolt on even more powerful equipment either side of it.
Because you get the bandwidth.
And give them and reliability, give them even greater quality.
Yeah. Because obviously within our teams, so we've obviously got a team in Aberdeen, a team in Kilwinning, and they're in constant discussion. So it might be that we end up, we've just got something in Aberdeen, something down here. Those two systems are just sitting there and they're all working together as if they're in the same room.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's another client.
How cool would that be?
Their headquarters is at Silverstone Racetrack.
Yeah.
Because it's a racing team. And we put a video wall into their headquarters at Silverstone. And wherever they are in the world on race day, all the data is coming back into that room. And then they're having to send that straight back to the pit lane and then on to the drivers. So it's, you know, thousands upon thousands of miles apart. Those three systems are working. Somebody shooting around a track at hundreds of miles an hour. People sitting in a pit lane and people sitting in a control room in Silverstone, and they're making it work. Making it work.
So they're sitting going, oh, right, his tyres are coming out. I can see it in the screen. The pit lane's like, oh, we see it. Oh, get him in. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting all the data fed on their screen, so they're sitting there focused on that. The driver's obviously watching for other cars. But the guys, the pit lane are getting ready for a pit stop. But the guys back at HQ are sitting there watching the data on the screen saying, okay, right, his brakes are starting to go. We need to get him in, or the tyre tread's going, we need to get him in. And it was fascinating it was a really good job to do because you're working with somebody really smart like car racing.
So, but it's amazing. And some of the other jobs, obviously, we'll kind of talk to them about on here, but some of the jobs that you've done are outstanding. And that's what I'm saying. It's similar to us when we're talking about we're saving these big multinational global clients, hundreds of millions of pounds. You've then got the wee company down there going, what can you do for us? But it's exactly what you said. You've got more of your customers are kind of probably at the smaller end, and it's not the full complex systems that are there. It's just the maybe kind of entry level stuff that's just making their life hopefully a bit better and a bit easier.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're a small company, one meeting room, that meeting room is just as important to you
100%.
as a control centre is.
Probably
to
more so because that's all you've got.
That's it. Yeah, and we quite often we'll meet somebody, be invited in or be called in, and they'll look, we're trying to put this meeting room together, and they've done some themselves with their knowledge and what they're doing, and we can look at it and just a few adjustments, maybe one wee gadget, maybe one wee adjustment in how you've used it, insert a component in it, or use the room differently, and we can give them that advice or that solution, and it transforms how they do their business and how they conduct their meetings.
I would just say for us, obviously we've got our wee kind of boardroom that we call it, so that's our meeting room that we've got, and right now, try to have a meeting in there. It's no great. It's not a great experience, and that's one of the things. As we brought Mission Control in, we're starting to do all that. It was getting you in to look at the Mission Control stuff, but then just our general meeting area. So that can be a better experience for us. Obviously, the people at the other end, they don't really see it. But see, for my team, when we're all sitting there, and there's like 6 or 7 of us in there, and then we're teams meeting with the people up in Aberdeen, and then we've got a couple of people at home and all that kind of stuff. Sitting in that room's a bit crap. Yeah. To be honest with you, you don't. It's not an enjoyable place to have a meeting. And then Audrey was on there, so poor wee Audrey, she's quite softly spoken, so she's having to sit closer to the front because you struggle to hear her if she's at the back.
It's a good point because the modern AI then can to cut that out. So the modern AI can take a boomy voice and squeeze it a bit, and take a quiet voice and open up a bit to give the far end the similar audio level. And You brought up a good point. We were a client, and it was the client that said to me that the cost of this equipment that we installed from you, which wasn't a lot for them, it was a nice display, a nice video conferencing system, all kitted out into the room. They said to me, this is normally what I would say to them to try and sell the idea of the return on investment. But they said to me, when we look at the cost to us in salaries for our staff, just the amount of time wasted trying to get meetings to work properly is probably paid for this in 6 months.
Brilliant.
That. I mean, I wish I could get a poster with that on.
Aye, so sweet. Get them to ask them if they can actually put that as an official statement on your A-board.
Aye, absolutely, aye. But and it's true, because if you're paying people, professional people, good salaries, and they're spending half an hour every day messing around with kit that they can't get working to start a meeting. Okay, that might have a detrimental effect to your meeting with your client and your business, but you're burning people's wages the whole time you're messing around doing that there.
100%. It's every time is money, right? And we're doing the same just now. We're away in our kind of strategy day next week, and that's one of the things we're looking at is how do we try and automate as much as we can, because every time somebody's touching something, moving something, getting up to go and do something, that's all wasting time, and it's not that you want to turn everything so there's none of that, but what you want to do is try and maximise your time for doing things that add value, not wasting time. Correct. What you're saying there.
And everybody that's coming out of school and university and college nowadays, or serving their apprenticeship nowadays, is of a generation that expects digital technology to work for them. And smartphones and tablets, etc. Everything's got to be quick. It's there. It's got to be instant. If you've got an old system in your room, and a younger person walks into that room and they're like, well, "What are you doing? What's this you've got here?" Oh, well, it works for us. Well, it might work for you, but this is not what I'm used to. And that in a strange way is a big driver in a lot of organisations. We notice when we go in and there's a younger person, the IT team and the facilities team, and this young person is driving it because they've got that expectation of the latest technology.
I think that's a really good point, because that's maybe an intangible. So say you walk in, you're a young person and you're going for 3 jobs, right? And you walk into one and you're in an old stinky kind of rundown kind of office, right, or meeting room, right, and you're sitting there, and that might be the best company for you, but if the next one you walk into is nice and clean and shiny and all that kind of stuff, that's pretty cool. Then the next one you walk into and it's pure fancy, and it's all this, so we're going to sit here and we've got Jill on screen, who's our HR person. Jill's down in Birmingham at the moment, but obviously this will just be, you'll not feel as if there's anything different. You're just going to be sitting, we're having a conversation, it's as if Jill's in the room. If I was a young person, I'd be going, I like the sound of that company, that's pretty cool.
You'll be seduced by it, won't you?
Aye, oh, you would,
you absolutely
totally.
will be. Aye. And because that's all you know.
Yeah.
You don't know the old school way of doing it.
Aye.
I mean, there's a lot of young folk wouldn't know what an old-fashioned curved TV screen is.
Oh, aye. Well, I've actually got a bunch of them. I've got recycled ones in my garden. There's a thing called Glasgow, and it's, see all the old kind of thick tellies, the screens for them recycled into a decorative chip.
Nice.
Very cool.
Very nice.
Very cool. But it's the same in all, you're now, but it used to be, remember, when you were going, say, oh, you know what a tape deck is? But now it's even, folk don't know what a DVD is. Never mind a tape deck.
Bypassed it all.
Aye.
Well, we're back to vinyl though, aren't we?
Aye. That's just all the old school folk. But we were talking about that the other day there, where I wish I'd kept all my old stuff. I mean, because you look back now to 30, 40 years ago, like all my Star Wars toys, be worth an absolute fortune, right? Then all your old clothes that have all come in and out of fashion, because I'm going to embarrass him, but Lucas, my boy, he come in and he's got the kind of the baggies and all that. And I went, I used to wear them when I was your age. I wish I'd just kept all my own stuff.
There's no new fashions. There's no new fashions. It's all getting recycled.
That's it. It's just a recycling and getting round.
I suppose that's what makes what you do for your clients, and what we do is we're always on the edge of the latest bit of technology.
Yeah.
It never gets boring what we do.
No.
And we've actually got to pay attention to what's going on and speak to our manufacturers on a regular basis, so that we're ahead of the game as well. I mean, I'm just back from China, and I was blown away by the use of LED display in China, and I'm talking about large scale LED. The lottery ticket kiosk on the side of the pavement over there has got LED on it that most businesses here wouldn't even begin to think about doing. So we're so far behind them at the moment. I'm not saying that in a negative way, but it's where they're manufacturing it all and where all the innovation is over there, and they're making so much use of LED technology over there that I think the next 5 years we are going to see an explosion of it here as well. It's going to be everywhere.
So Jamie, we had a summer intern in Jamie Friends. So Jamie was doing some work for us, and we were looking at manufacturing across various kind of geographical regions. See the number. So we're doing it manufacturing business with 100+ employees. Right? Guess what when we're looking at America, Middle East, Asia Pacific, blah, blah, blah. And guess what one took the longest for manufacturing? It wasn't China, but it wasn't far away.
Took the longest time.
Had the most number of manufacturing businesses with over 100 employees.
And it wasn't China?
It wasn't China.
Is that per head of population or just...
No, it was just when you looked at the areas that we looked at. So it was Japan.
Really?
Right? And I could not believe it, because Jamie he'd said, I'm going to take a couple of days to do Japan. He's like, you should see the number of manufacturing businesses there is in Japan. Basically, the whole of Japan is just manufacturing. It's phenomenal, the number of companies that are there.
Yeah, and that's what I noticed in China as well, that we were, you're led to believe that the reason China can make things cheap or for less expensive is because they pay lower wages, and that might play into it, but it's not actually the reason. It's because they're so well tooled up
and efficient. They're completely efficient.
Everything they do is incredibly efficient, and the scale of the tooling. If they build a factory to build something that's the size of a town, it's crazy how well organised they are over there. And you're right, the efficiency over there is incredible.
We used to get electric motors built over in China, and it was UK, originally UK, then it went to other parts, like parts of Eastern Europe, and then the factories ended up in China. So it ended up like 3 or 4 factories. See, when you actually seen these things, right, it is a well-oiled machine. Some of the quality things at that point, 'cause it was still a new factory, were questionable, but they made these things like that. And that's where you got a lot of so actually repairing bits of kit, and this is where the whole circular economy bit comes in, but repairing bits of kit was becoming more expensive than building it. No, because they had that process so slick, fast and efficient that it was more expensive to repair something than it was to replace it. Now, obviously, the world's trying to look at circular economy and being more sustainable. That's where your repair sector is now going, do you know what, we've got a chance again here, because repairing of so many things was becoming just unfeasible. It's amazing how well they can get these things to work. And as you say, everybody thinks just because it's cheaper, but it's not. There's so much more that goes into it, and the investment that goes into making it that slick is phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, over there, I kind of got this feeling that they don't shy away from doing things in large scale.
Yep.
It's about get it done right, make it good. It'll benefit everybody.
Aye.
They don't sit back and worry about it. They just get on with it in China. Now that might not be great in a lot of ways. With the environment, might be things that they do to the environment aren't great. That's a different argument. But in terms of building things and getting things done over there, they just don't hold back. It's 100 miles an hour what they're doing.
It's a different mentality as well. I mean, you've got people over there that are happy to work and happy to have a job and happy to have all that kind of stuff. Here in the UK, it's trying to get people to buy into stuff is challenging, and there's a lot of jobs that people think are beneath them as well, and that's what some of the big challenges we've got over here. And there's a big expectation that folk are to leave school and and they just automatically make a fortune.
I totally agree with you. And what I got from that over there was that everybody's in a job in China, it's not the communism we're led to believe that it was.
Yeah.
If there's such a thing as good communism, I witnessed that over there. If you know what I mean by that, there, because people's day-to-day lives isn't touched by a regime. People's day-to-day life is exactly the same as ours, except they're getting on with things.
Aye.
Whether you want
no bitching about it.
Yeah, whether you want to sell cold drinks down the beach or whether you want to sell fancy cars to billionaires, everybody in China's got the opportunity to do that there. It's probably the most capitalist place I've ever been to, because everybody's got a job, everybody's doing something, and everything seems to be really, really efficient. They just get on with it.
Aye, but our country's turned into everybody just wants to moan about stuff rather than actually go on with stuff. Yeah, and no provide solutions, but just provide moans.
Yeah, and we don't want to get into politics here, but I would never blame an individual person for that. For that, I would blame the structure of the society and the opportunities that are there, and I think that's what I'm trying to say about China. Is that what I witnessed was that the hangover from the old school communism into the modern world is actually created a way of thinking and a set of opportunities that whether you want to sit in a mat and sell cucumbers in a market, or whether you want to be in a fancy showroom selling cars or whatever, you can do that in China. Anybody, and it's people I was speaking to over there were basically telling me that you go and you study, and you come out the back end of your study, and you've got 1 billion people out there. It's your potential marketplace, so you don't need to think about where my opportunities are going to lie. It's right in front of you.
All right, okay, right. Who in my team wants to put themselves forward for starting the Eels Are Reliability Solutions China Limited? It sounds quite good. Has there been any questions at all, Andrew?
Not yet.
Oh well. Well, no, Gunny, that's all right. There's no need to worry about listening to anybody's questions.
We've obviously covered all.
We have covered it all. That's when it's like an interview, isn't it? Yes, I did have a bunch of questions, but you've managed to cover them all. So, listen, I just think what you're doing is great, right? And I'm looking forward to seeing the value that you can bring to us. And some of the stuff you've done is just amazing. So I don't know, is there anything else that you want to try and cover that we've not spoke about? Because this is what happens all the time. I end up sitting here and I'm just blaring away what's interesting to me. No, it's actually the case. Want to get out there. So is there much else you want to do?
Well, thanks. And first of all, thanks for having us on today.
No worries.
Thanks to Andrew and Amelia as well. It's been great. Thanks to Grow for the coffee and the cake.
Definitely.
Well, the audiovisual environment I work in is traditionally for us been business meeting rooms, business digital signage, so information screens around about business, front of house signage. But with the new technologies, the LED I mentioned earlier on, the new the displays that are available now. You can build an LED display the shape of a bottle now, a ball, a house, a column, a dog, a tree. I mean, nothing's impossible now with LED. You can
how does that work? Is that just like a? Because I've seen all these screens that you can bend and all that kind of stuff. Is it just like a bunch of? I don't know.
The way it's made is, to cut long story short, it's a pocket of pixels. So a red, green, blue, and a white pixel on a black bed, right? And they can switch them on and off at different frequencies and make them work. So in your LCD television, you've got a screen of pixels that switch on and off and produce light.
Right.
These things, the light comes out of the pixels. So when you see trackside advertising at football and you zoom into it, you can see the individual things. They're now able to make that down to like a millimetre per pixel.
Right.
But they can also do it on transparent beds and flexible beds. So they can build almost anything and everything now. And they've also got stuff that's going outdoors now that can withstand the weather and beatings, and even people can buy and hitting it. So what's possible now is that you can literally have the whole front of your building, if planning gave you permission, as a screen. You can have the whole inside of your...
Give me some ideas here.
Yeah.
You're going to be driving past my building. It's going to have all sorts of it.
I mean, I'll put if this is going on LinkedIn, I'll in the comments I'll put a link to a video, and there's a city in Qingdao in China. It's a modernised city, so it's got skyscrapers. I think there's 15 skyscrapers all the way along the beachfront in this city, and they're about 20 to 30 stories tall. And these skyscrapers are a giant TV screen. They've literally put pixels across all these skyscrapers, and the whole thing is a giant TV screen, and they do a big show every night on it.
Magic.
It's just that you can't conceive it until you see it. It's nuts. Brilliant. It's nuts.
I stick that in, because that, as I say, see likes of that, just amazing. See a way to differentiate yourself, right? Obviously, they've done it as a full city, but see, for me, obviously, as a business, being able to do something like that, differentiate yourself, there is no better way to market yourself than through some sort of visual representation.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that technology, we're talking to quite a few potential clients and existing clients in the hospitality business who want to have better signage at their premises, both internal and external, to let people know what they do. To share the good things that they do and the fun you can have in their premises. Because currently they're all having to rely on sandwich boards or static signs or backlit signs. But the technology's there now and it's affordable now. And if we do it properly with them, and the content management system is really important. We say content's king.
Aye.
But they can do that in-house now. So the solutions that we give them allow them to basically create their own digital billboards here, there and everywhere around their business. And that's something that maybe 10 years ago we wouldn't have got involved in, because you needed really specialised technology to achieve that.
Aye, and real skills and everything else, and it becomes uncost-effective.
And really, really expensive. But now with the mass production over in the Far East of the LED tiles, and the way you can put them together, we can give clients whatever they want now at a fraction of the cost it would have been 10 years ago.
And this is where, obviously, before we started speaking, I didn't really think about how much aligned our businesses and the way that we think are, but we're exactly the same, but what we're doing is just in a different space. So when I started this business, the cost of technology was up there and the capability was down there. Purpose of starting the business was saying that's going to get to that stage where the return on investment becomes easily achievable. But then it's going to be like that. The cost will keep going down and the capability goes up, and then it becomes of real value. And that's exactly what you're saying there, just in a different world.
Absolutely. And I'm actually quite excited about what I can do for my clients in the future with this technology. I think the biggest hurdle they're going to have is getting planning permission to have things that create so much light on the outside of the buildings. Yeah. But we can manage that with ambient light sensors and stuff. That's not a problem. But whether the local authorities have got the wherewithal and the desire to help them produce this here. When you go to other parts of the world, it's as if planning permission is not required. You just stick a sign up on the outside your building and go for it. But I think in this country they're a bit tighter with the planning permission. So
how easy is it to take down when planning permission have said no and you have to take it back?
It's all modular.
That's fine.
You can get down and put somewhere else. Yeah.
Oh God, there's going to be all this stuff everywhere.
But the thing is though, I said this before we started the show that there's this idea that if you communicate information effectively, it benefits everybody, right? If the local authorities can't grasp that, then they're going to hold everybody back. And local authorities' responsibility is meant to be for the well-being of local economies, right? And people's, society at large. So you know, a bright light at night, as long as it's not beaming into somebody's living room, what's the problem?
Exactly. Like, what difference does it make? Yeah. And one of the things, actually, before we go, because we need to kind of finish off on this, because you're actually going to have one of your billboards on that for the Ayrshire Business Week. So we're both chamber members.
Yeah.
So Claire, who's been on the show, and I'm going to put out there, the news, going to be on the show once a quarter. Right, so we're going to have a quarterly update from the chamber. Claire, I'm pretty sure you said yes to that, but it's now official, so you need to come on. But both chamber members, and we're talking about the chamber and Ayrshire Business Week and stuff like that, and that's where you're going to have some of your kit that's going to be getting shown around during that, aren't you?
You know, we're obviously going to advertise what we can do, but we're going to help the chamber as part of Business Week to help them promote the different parts and the different things that are happening during Business Week. So we're going to bring some of our technology in and let them make use of it.
Sounds really, really good. All right, is there anything else? Because I'm glad you actually brought that in at the end, because we had kind of half spoke about that, but then hadn't spoke about it when we were here. So glad somebody's memory's no bad. So anything else that you think is worth, that we've not spoke about, that's worth telling folk?
I think we've covered everything,
So?
really. Aye.
Well, what I'm going to try and do, obviously, we'll get together and try and make Mission Control 1.10 or 1.0, whatever we're going to call it, the as good as we can do from what we've got at the moment. But I'm really excited about what the next stage is going to look like for us. So I can't wait, and it's going to be great to get you involved in the process.
And if we get a Mission Control done, we can come back in here and talk about it and talk about the result.
Mm-hmm. What we can maybe do, right, and this is where we maybe need to teach the driver of this show. We could maybe get it that we're sitting here talking and we go live to Mission Control, right? And then it goes to the remote monitoring team. Andrew, can you do that?
Probably.
There you go. Well,
everything's possible, Andrew.
So probably my world is I, right? So that's so well done, mate. I can't wait. It'll be brilliant. So see if it's no an O, it's an I.
Exactly.
No, so I think that'd be brilliant then. So see, once we've got that running, there you go, Andrew. We'll get Dario back on the show, and we're going to try and make that happen. And then we can just sit here and say, listen, we spoke about this when we were on. Now you can see it live and then beam across to them.
Aye. And I'll just say to anybody watching that's curious about what we do, don't be scared to ask. You know, you're not obligated to do anything. We can have conversations with you and explain what's possible for you. And you don't need to do anything about it. Just give you the information and let you take it on board.
And this is where, obviously, speaking to Dario, I was really, really pleased, because it reminds me, obviously, Gordon on here last week talking about caution not to be a good guy. And we've just spoke about that for about 20 minutes before we come on here, is that you'll go there and share knowledge and share your experience, share that kind of stuff, and you're doing it for nothing. But it always comes back round, because people go, do you know what you told me actually sounds really good. And caution not to be a good guy.
Karma's your payback.
Karma is your payback.
It's always the case.
Right. Okay, we'll leave it there, because I think we could talk all day. Actually, it's been nearly an hour. It's amazing how fast it goes, isn't it?
It's been fun.
Right. Thank you very much, anybody who's still watching. And have you turned it off yet? No. So, and obviously, Dario is tagged in the post anyway, in the event. So if you want to get any further information, just contact Dario direct, and he'll put the fancy video of this place in China on the post for us to go see it.
I promise I will.
Right, thank you very much, everyone. Right, Dario, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Jamie.
No worries, mate.